Howdy doody, folks. We have got the perks of being a wallflower. We left off last time at page 67, and we're just going to read for like 10 or so minutes. December 11th, 1991. Dear friend, Patrick loved the tape. I think he knows that I'm his secret Santa, though, because I think he knows that only I would do a tape like that. He also knows what my handwriting looks like. I don't know why I don't think of these things until it's too late. I really should have saved it for my last present. Incidentally, I have thought of my second gift for Patrick. It is magnetic poetry. Have you heard of this? In case you haven't, I will explain. Some guy or girl put a whole bunch of words on a sheet of magnet and then cut the words into separate pieces. You put them on your refrigerator and then you write poems while you make a sandwich. It's very fun. The gift from my secret Santa wasn't anything special. That makes me sad. I bet you anything that Mary Elizabeth is my secret Santa because only she would give me socks. Love always, Charlie. December 19, 1991. Dear friend, I have since received thrift store slacks. I have also received a tie, a white shirt, shoes, and an old belt. I'm guessing that my last gift at the party will be a suit coat because it's the only thing left. I was told by a typed note to wear everything I had been given to the party. I hope there is something behind this. The good news is that Patrick liked all my gifts very much. Gift number 3 was a set of watercolour paints and some paper. I thought he might like to get them even if he never uses them. Gift number 4 was a harmonica and a book about playing it. I guess it's probably the same gift as the watercolours, but I really think that everybody should have watercolours, magnetic poetry, and a harmonica. My last gift before the party is a book called The Mayor of Castro Street. It is about a man named Harvey Milk, who was a gay leader in San Francisco. I went to the library when Patrick told me he was gay. I did some research because I honestly didn't know much about it. I found an article about a documentary movie about Harvey Milk, and when I couldn't find the movie, I just searched for his name and I found this book. I have not read it myself, but the description on the book seemed very good. I hope that it means something to Patrick. I can't wait for the party so I can give Patrick my party present. Incidentally, I have taken all my finals for the semester, and it has been very busy, and I would have told you all about it, but it just doesn't seem as interesting as these other things that have to do with holidays. December 21st, 1991. Dear friend, wow. I can paint the picture for you if you like. We are all sitting in Sam and Patrick's house, which I had never seen before. It was a rich house, very clean, and we were all giving our final presents. The outside lights were on and it was snowing, and it looked like magic, like we were somewhere else, like we were someplace better. It was the first time I had ever met Sam and Patrick's parents. They were so nice. Sam's mum is very pretty and tells great jokes. Sam said she used to be an actress when she was younger. Patrick's dad is very tall and has a great handshake. He is also a very good cook. A lot of parents make you feel very awkward when you meet them, but not Sam and Patrick's. They were friendly all through dinner, and when dinner was over, they left so we could have our party. They didn't even check on us or anything, not once. They just let us pretend it was our house. So we decided to have the party in the games room, which had no games but a great rug. When I revealed that I was Patrick's secret Santa, everyone laughed because everyone knew, and Patrick did his best impersonation of being surprised, which was nice of him. Then everyone asked what my last gift was, and I told them it was a poem I read a long time ago. It was a poem that Michael made a copy of for me, and I've read it 1,000 times since because I don't know who wrote it. I don't know if it was ever in a book or a class. I don't know how old the person was, but I know that I want to know him or her. I want to know that this person is okay. So everyone asked me to stand up and read the poem. And I wasn't shy because we were trying to act like grown ups and we drank brandy. And I was warm. I'm still a little warm. But I have to tell you this. So I stood up, and just before I read this poem, I asked everyone if they knew who wrote it to please tell me. When I was done reading the poem, everyone was quiet. A very sad quiet, but the amazing thing was that it wasn't a bad sad at all. It was just something that made everyone look around at each other and know that they were there. Sam and Patrick looked at me, and I looked at them, and I think they knew. Not anything specific, really. They just knew. And I think that's all you can ever ask from a friend. That's when Patrick put on the second side of the tape I made for him and poured everyone another glass of brandy. I guess we all looked a little silly drinking it, but we didn't feel silly, I can tell you that. As the songs kept playing, Mary Elizabeth stood up, but she wasn't holding a suit coat. It turns out that she wasn't my secret Santa at all. She was the secret Santa to the other girl with the tattoo and belly button ring, whose real name is Alice. She gave her some black nail polish that Alice had her eye on, and Alice was very grateful. I just sat there, looking around the room, looking for the suit coat, not knowing who could possibly be holding it. Sam stood up next, and she gave Bob a handcrafted Native American pipe, which seemed appropriate. More people gave more gifts, and more hugs were exchanged. And finally, it came to the end. No one was left except for Patrick, and he stood up and walked into the kitchen. Does anyone want any chips? Everyone did, and he came out with 3 tubes of Pringles and a suit coat. And he walked up to me, and he said that all the great writers used to wear suits all the time. So I put on the suit, even though I didn't feel like I really deserved to, since all I write are essays for Bill. But it was such a nice present, and everyone clapped their hands anyway. Sam and Patrick both agreed I looked handsome. Mary Elizabeth smiled. I think it was the first time in my life I ever felt like I looked good. Do you know what I mean? That nice feeling when you look in the mirror and your hair's right for the first time in your life. I don't think we should base so much on weight, muscles, and a good hair day. But when it happens, it's nice. It really is. The rest of the evening was very special, since a lot of people were going away with their families to places like Florida and Florida and Indiana. We all exchanged presents with the people who weren't Secret Santas for. I can't read that bit. Mary Elizabeth gave Sam earrings. So did Alice, and Sam gave them earrings too. I think that is a private girl thing. I have to admit, I felt a little sad because other than Sam and Patrick, nobody got me a present. I guess I'm not that close with them, so it makes sense, but I still feel a little sad. And then it came to my turn. I gave Bob a little plastic tube of soap bubbles because it just seemed to fit his personality. I guess I was right. Too much, was all he said. He spent the rest of the night blowing bubbles at the ceiling. Next was Alice. I gave her a book by Anne Rice because she is always talking about her, and she looked at me like she couldn't believe I knew she loved Anne Rice. I guess she didn't know how much she talked or how much I listened, but she thanked me all the same. Next came Mary Elizabeth. I gave her $40 inside a card. The card said something pretty simple: to be spent on printing punk rocky in colour next time. And she looked at me funny. Then they all started to look at me funny, except for Sam and Patrick. I think they started feeling bad because they didn't get me anything. But I don't think they should have, because I don't think that's the point, really. Mary Elizabeth just smiled and said thanks, and then stopped looking at me in the eye. Last came Sam. I had been thinking about this present for a long time. I think I thought about this present from the first time I really saw her. Not met her or saw her, but the first time I really saw her, if you know what I mean. There was a card attached. Inside the card, I told Sam that the present I gave her was given to me by my Aunt Helen. It was an old 45 record that had the Beatles song Something. I used to listen to it all the time when I was little and thinking about grown up things. I would go to my bedroom window and stare at my reflection in the glass and the trees behind it and just listen to the song for hours. I decided then that when I met someone I thought was as beautiful as the song, I should give it to that person. I didn't mean beautiful on the outside, I meant beautiful in all ways. So I was giving it to Sam. Sam looked at me soft, and she hugged me. And I closed my eyes because I wanted to know nothing but her arms. And she kissed my cheek and whispered so nobody could hear, I love you. I know that she meant it in a friend way, but I didn't care because it was the third time since my Aunt Helen died that I heard it from anyone. The other two times were from my mum. After that, I couldn't believe that Sam actually got me a present because I honestly thought that the I love you was it. But she did get me a present. And for the first time, something nice like that made me smile and not cry. I guess Sam and Patrick went to the same thrift store because their gifts went together. She took me to her room and stood me in front of her dresser, which was covered in a pillowcase with pretty colours. She lifted off the pillowcase, and there I was, standing in my old suit, looking at an old typewriter with a fresh ribbon. Inside the typewriter was a piece of white paper. On that piece of white paper, Sam wrote, write about me sometime. And I typed something back to her, standing right there in her bedroom. I just typed, I will. And I felt good that those were the first two words that I ever typed on my new old typewriter that Sam gave me. We just sat there quiet for a moment, and she smiled. And I moved to the typewriter again, and I wrote something. I love you too. And Sam looked at the paper, and she looked at me. Charlie, have you ever kissed a girl? I shook my head no. It was so quiet. Not even when you were little? I shook my head no again, and she looked very sad. She told me about the first time she was kissed. She told me that it was with one of her dad's friends. She was 7, and she told nobody about it except for Mary Elizabeth and then Patrick a year ago. And she started to cry, and she said something that I won't forget ever. I know that you know that I like Craig, and I know that I told you not to think of me that way, and I know that we can't be together like that, but I want to forget all those things for a minute, okay? Okay. I want to make sure that the first person you kiss loves you, okay? Okay. She was crying harder now, and I was too, because when I hear something like that, I just can't help it. I just want to make sure of that, okay? Okay. And she kissed me. It was the kind of kiss that I could never tell my friends about out loud. It was the kind of kiss that made me know that I was never so happy in my whole life. Once on a yellow piece of paper with green lines, he wrote a poem and he called it Chops because that was the name of his dog and that's what it was all about. And his teacher gave him an A and a gold star, and his mother hung it on the kitchen door and read it to his aunts. That was the year Father Tracy took all the kids to the zoo, and he let them sing on the bus, and his little sister was born, with tiny toenails and no hair, and his mother and father kissed a lot, and the girl around the corner sent him a valentine signed with a row of X's, and he had to ask his father what the X's meant. And his father always tucked him in bed at night, and was always there to do it. Once on a piece of white paper with blue lines, he wrote a poem, and he called it Autumn, because that was the name of the season, and that's what it was all about. And his teacher gave him an A, and asked him to write more clearly, and his mother never hung it on the kitchen door, because of its new paint. And the kids told him that Father Tracy smoked cigars and left butts on the pews, and sometimes they would burn holes. That was the year his sister got glasses with thick lenses and black frames, and the girl around the corner laughed when he asked her to go see Santa Claus, and the kids told him why. His mother and father kissed a lot, and his father never tucked him in bed at night, and his father got mad when he cried for him to do it. Once on a paper torn from his notebook, he wrote a poem, and he called it Innocence, a Question, because that was the question about his girl, and that's what it was all about. And his professor gave him an A and a strange steady look, and his mother never hung it on the kitchen door because he never showed her. That was the year that Father Tracy died, and he forgot how the end of Apostles' Creed went, and he caught his sister making out on the back porch, and his mother and father never kissed or even talked. And the girl around the corner wore too much makeup that made him cough when he kissed her, but he kissed her anyway, because that was the thing to do. And at 3 a.m. he tucked himself into bed, his father snoring soundly. That's why, on the back of a brown paper bag, he tried another poem, and he called it Absolutely Nothing, because that's what it was really all about. And he gave himself an A and a slash on each damned wrist, and he hung it on the bathroom door, because this time he didn't think he could reach the kitchen. That was the poem I read for Patrick. Nobody knew who wrote it, but Bob said he heard it before, and he heard that it was some kid's suicide note. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. And that it was some kid's final note. I really hope it wasn't, because then I don't know if I like the ending. Love always, Charlie. December 23rd, 1991. Dear friend, Sam and Patrick left with their family for the Grand Canyon yesterday. I don't feel too bad about it because I can still remember Sam's kiss. It feels peaceful and right. I even considered not washing my lips like they do on TV, but then I thought it would get too gross. So instead, I spent today walking around the neighborhood. I even got out my old sled and my old scarf. There's something cozy about that for me. I walked over to the hill where we used to go and sleigh. There were a lot of little kids there. I watched them flying, doing jumps and having races. And I thought that all those little kids are going to grow up someday, and all of those little kids are going to do the things that we do, and they will all kiss someone someday. But for now, sledding is enough. I think it would be great if sledding were always enough, but it isn't. I'm really glad that Christmas and my birthday are soon, because that means they will be over soon, because I can already feel myself going to a bad place I used to go. After my Aunt Helen was gone, I went to that place. It got so bad that my mum had to take me to a doctor. and I was held back a grade. But now I'm trying not to think about it too much because that makes it worse. It's kind of like when you look at yourself in the mirror and you say your name, and it gets to a point when none of it seems real. Well, sometimes I can do that, but I don't need an hour in front of a mirror. It happens very fast and things start to slip away. And I just open my eyes and I see nothing. And then I start to breathe really hard, trying to see something. But I can't. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it scares me. It almost happened this morning, but I thought of Sam's kiss and it went away. I probably shouldn't be writing about this too much because it brings it up too much. It makes me think too much, and I am trying to participate. It's just hard because Sam and Patrick are in the Grand Canyon. Tomorrow, I'm going with my mum to buy presents for everyone, and then we are celebrating my birthday. I was born on December 24th. I don't know if I ever told you that. It's a strange birthday to have because it is so close to Christmas. After that, we are celebrating Christmas with my dad's family, and my brother will be home for a little while. Then, I'm going out to take my driver's test, so I will be busy while Sam and Patrick are gone. Tonight I watched some television with my sister, but she didn't want to watch the Christmas specials that were on, so I decided to go upstairs and read. Bill gave me one book to read over the break. It's The Catcher in the Rye. It was Bill's favourite book when he was my age. He said it was the kind of book you made your own. I read the first 20 pages. I don't know how I feel about it just yet, but it does seem appropriate to the time. I hope Sam and Patrick call on my birthday. It would make me feel much better. Love always, Charlie. December 25th, 1991. Dear friend, I am sitting in my dad's old bedroom in Ohio. Shut up. The family is still downstairs. I really don't feel very well. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm starting to get scared. I wish we were going back home tonight, but we always sleep over. I don't want to tell my mum about it because it would just make her worry. I would tell Sam and Patrick, but they didn't call yesterday, and we left this morning after we opened presents. Maybe they called this afternoon. I hope they didn't call this afternoon because I wasn't there. I hope it's okay that I'm telling you this. I just don't know what else to do. I always get sad when this happens, and I wish Michael were here, and I wish my Aunt Helen were here. I miss my Aunt Helen like this. Reading the book isn't helping either. I don't know. I'm just thinking too fast. Much too fast. It's like tonight. The family watched It's a Wonderful Life, which is a very beautiful movie. And all I could think was, why didn't they make the movie about Uncle Billy? George Bailey was an important man in the town. Because of him, a whole bunch of people got to get out of the slums. He saved a town, and when his dad died, he was the only guy who could do it. He wanted to live an adventure, but he stayed behind and sacrificed his dreams for the better good of the community. And then, when that made him sad, he was going to, because his life insurance money would have taken care of his family. And then an angel comes down and shows him what life would be if he had never been born, how the whole town would have suffered, and how his wife would have been an old maid. And my sister didn't even say anything about how that's such an old-fashioned thing. This year, every other year, she says something about how Mary was working for a living, and just because she's not married, it doesn't mean that she is worthless. But this year, she didn't. I didn't know why. I thought it might be about that secret boy of hers, or maybe it's what happened in the car on the way over to our grandma's house. I just wanted the movie to be about Uncle Billy because he drank a lot and was fat and lost the money in the first place. I wanted the angel to come down and show us how Uncle Billy's life had meaning. Then I think I'd feel better. It started yesterday at home. I don't like my birthday. I don't like it at all. I went shopping with my mum and sister, and my mum was in a bad mood because of parking spaces and lines, and my sister was in a bad mood because she couldn't buy her secret boy a present and hide it from mum. She would have to come back herself later, and I felt weird, really weird, because as I was walking around all the stores, I didn't know what present my dad would like to receive from me. I knew what to buy or give Sam and Patrick, but I didn't know what I could buy or give or make for my own dad. My brother likes posters of girls and beer cans. My sister likes a haircut gift certificate. My mum likes old movies and plants. My dad only likes golf, and that is not a winter sport, except for in Florida. And we don't live there. And he doesn't play baseball anymore. He doesn't like to be even reminded unless he tells the stories. I just wanted to know what to buy my dad because I love him, and I don't know him, and he doesn't like to talk about things like that. Well, why don't you chip in with your sister and buy him that sweater? I don't want to. I want to buy him something. What kind of music does he like? My dad doesn't listen to music a lot anymore, and the stuff he likes, he has. What kind of books does he like to read? My dad doesn't read books too much anymore because he listens to books on cassette tapes on the way to work, and he gets them free from the library. What kind of movies? What kind of anything? My sister decided to buy the sweater on her own, and she started to get mad at me because she needed time to come back to the store to buy that present for her secret boyfriend. Just buy him some golf balls, Charlie. Jesus. But that's a summer sport. Mum, would you make him buy something? Charlie, calm down. It's okay. I felt so sad. I didn't know what was going on. Mum was trying to be really nice because when I get like this, she is the one that tries real hard to keep things calm. I'm sorry, Mum. No, don't be sorry. You want to get a nice present for your father. That's a good thing. Mum, my sister was really getting mad. My mum didn't even look at my sister. Charlie, you can buy your father whatever you want. I know he'll love it. Now calm down, it's okay. My mum took me to 4 different stores. Each one my sister just sat in the nearest chair and groaned. I finally found the perfect store. It was a movie place, and I found a video cassette of the last episode of MASH without the commercials, and I felt a lot better. Then I started telling Mum about how we all watched it together. She knows, Charlie. She was there. Let's go. Duh. My mum told my sister to mind her own business, and she listened to me tell the story that she already knew, leaving out the part about my dad crying because that was our little secret. My mum even told me how I tell stories very well. I love my mum, and this time I told her I loved her, and she told me she loved me too, and things were okay for a little while. We were sitting at the dinner table waiting for my dad to come home with my brother from the airport. He was really late, and my mum started to worry because it was snowing really hard outside, and she kept my sister at home because she needed help with dinner. She wanted it to be extra special for my brother and for me because he was coming home, and it was my birthday. But my sister just wanted to buy her boyfriend a present. She was in a really bad mood. She was being like those bratty girls in movies from the 1980s, and my mum kept saying, "young lady," after every sentence. My dad finally called and said that because of the snow, my brother's plane was going to be very late. I just heard my mum's side of the discussion. But it's Charlie's birthday dinner. I don't expect you to do anything about it. Did he miss it? I'm just asking. I didn't say it was your fault. No, I can't keep it warm. It will be dry. What? But it's his favourite. Well, what am I supposed to feed them? Of course they're hungry. You're already an hour late. Well, you could have called. I don't know how long my mum was on the phone because I couldn't stay at the table and listen. I went into my room and read. I wasn't hungry anymore anyway. I just wanted to be in a quiet place. After a little while, my mum came into the room. She said that Dad had just called again and they should be home in 30 minutes. She asked me if anything was wrong, and I knew that she didn't mean my sister, and I knew that she didn't mean she and Dad fighting on the phone, because that stuff just happens sometimes. She just noticed that I looked very sad today, and she didn't think it was my friends leaving because I looked okay yesterday when I came back from sledding. Is it your Aunt Helen? It was the way she said it that started me feeling. Please don't do this to yourself, Charlie. But I did do it to myself, like I do every year on my birthday. I'm sorry. My mum wouldn't let me talk about it. She knows that I stop listening and start to breathe really fast. She covered my mouth and wiped at my eyes. I calmed down enough to make it downstairs, and I calmed down enough to be glad when my brother came home. And when we ate dinner, it wasn't too dry. Then we went outside to put up luminaria, which is an activity where all our neighbours fill brown paper bags with sand and line the street with them. Then we stick a candle in the sand of each bag. And when we light the candles, it turns the street into a landing strip for Santa Claus. I love putting luminaria up every year because it is very beautiful and a tradition and a good distraction from my birthday. My family gave me some really nice birthday presents. My sister was still mad at me, but she got me a Smiths record anyway, and my brother got me a poster signed by the whole football team. My dad gave me some records that my sister told him to buy, and my mum gave me some of the books she loved when she was a kid. One of them was The Catcher in the Rye. I started reading my mum's copy from the place I left off with Bill's copy, and it made me not think about my birthday. All I thought was that I'm going to take my driver's test sometime soon enough. That was a pretty good thing to think about. And then I thought about my driver's education class this past semester. Mr. Smith, who is kind of short and smells funny, wouldn't let any of us turn on the radio when we rode around. There was always two sophomores, one boy and one girl. They used to secretly They used to secretly touch each other's legs in the back seat when it was my turn. Then there was me. I wish I had a lot of stories about driver's education class. Sure, there were these movies about death on the highway, and sure, there were no police officers coming to talk to us. And sure, it was fun to get my race page 86 to go on to.